You hit snooze for the 5th time, pulling the covers over your head as another wave of dread washes over you. It's Monday morning again. That means gritting your teeth, shoving your existential crisis aside, and powering through another 60-hour work week. At the same time, you want to just hide away from the world and all its overwhelming demands, including personal obligations to family and friends, who now feel like just another energy drain. You've reached that point where all passion and determination have drained away, whether it's your work, household duties, or fulfilling basic social roles that once came naturally. Sound familiar? If so, you may be among the growing number of people experiencing what modern phenomenon experts are calling millennial burnout syndrome, which is a pervasive sense of fatigue, cynicism, and utter depletion brought on by our increasingly unrelenting work cultures. You, my friend, are part of the burnout generation sweeping across homes, offices, and campuses worldwide. As psychologist Melissa Bostrom writes in the Washington Post, we're seeing a generation that has been raised with the mindset of powering through and leaning in at all costs. But human beings were not meant to endure such chronic stress without breaking first. The warning signs of burnout are myriad. Here are 10 red flags that you may be suffering its devastating effects. 1. You can't get out of bed. We all have those mornings where it's a struggle to get up and get going. But for the burnout, this becomes a daily battle weighted down by intense dread, fatigue, insomnia, and feelings of depression. As psychologists Christina Maslach and Michael P. Leiter describe in their book, The Truth About Burnout, clients often report feeling like they're being crushed under a boulder of fog and heaviness when their alarm goes off each day. This sense of being completely drained before you've even started your workday is a classic indicator that burnout has set in. 2. Sundays are the worst. Rather than the weekend being a reprieve, those experiencing severe burnout find Sunday nights fill them with intense anxiety and sadness at the thought of another looming work week. According to a survey by job platform Monster, 76% of employees report having really bad Sunday night blues and dreading the work week ahead. 3. Apathy sets in. Early burnout often starts with a feeling of impassioned frustration. You work and work, but never feel accomplished or appreciated. But over time, that heated sense of anger gives way to apathy. A complete lack of care about your job, coworkers, outcomes, and even relationships with loved ones. 4. Your head is always pounding. More than just fatigue, burnout manifests in persistent physical symptoms like migraines, digestive issues, muscle tension, and chronic pain. This is the result of being stuck in a constant state of high stress for extended periods. According to the Mayo Clinic, when your stress system is activated over a long period of time, it can disrupt your body's processes. You're no stranger to those nagging ailments that are totally sapping your energy to be present with loved ones or enjoy simple pleasures and hobbies. 5. Coping through cynicism. Cynicism, negativity, sarcasm, and an overly critical mentality are all common psychological responses to contend with burnout's side effects. Smart remarks, condescension, and contemptuous attitudes arise as coping mechanisms as life piles up around you, straining your closest bonds. Cynicism allows burned-out individuals to temporarily vent their misery and regain a sense of superiority over a situation they actually have little control over, says a study on burnout from the University of Pennsylvania. 6. Anxiety follows you everywhere. People suffering from burnout describe feeling a constant simmering anxiety, no matter if they're at the office, running errands, or trying to unwind. Over time, this can lead to clinical anxiety disorders as evidenced by a 2019 study published in BMJ Open that found burned-out employees were 63% more likely to be taking psychiatric medication for anxiety. 7. Sickness sets in. When your body operates in this depleted state for too long, your immune system takes a major hit. The stress hormone cortisol suppresses immune function, increasing susceptibility to illnesses. According to researchers at Stockholm University, the burned out show higher levels of protein signatures for clinical burnout that deactivate the body's inflammatory response genes. In other words, burnout melts away your defenses. No wonder that cold has been lingering for weeks, or you can't muster the energy to make it to your best friend's wedding. You reach bubbles under the surface. Look out. That coworker who seems perpetually on the verge of an angry outburst is likely deep in burnout's throes. Pessimism curdles into hostility as the burned out short-circuit and lash out against anyone and everyone. You've definitely had those moments when you erupted to a loved one's minor comments or oversights. 9. Every day blurs together. Burnout manifests as this profound, inescapable mental haze. Those experiencing it often struggle to stay present and focused, feeling intensely distracted and unable to think clearly. Your brain just feels muddy and scattered, unable to concentrate on even simple tasks. A mental fog follows you everywhere, clouding your judgment and fracturing your memory during pivotal personal moments. 10. Substance dependency rises. As burdens grow heavier, it becomes tempting to lean on crutches like alcohol, caffeine, drugs, food, or other substances to self-soothe and endure the grind. This is fertile ground for the development of dependency issues and addictions. A 2020 study in the Journal of Health and Social Behavior found that around 25% of burned-out employees exhibited signs of alcohol dependency or abuse. You feel drawn to those vices and quick fixes to just take the edge off for a little while, even if it further strains your relationships and finances. If you're exhibiting the majority of these symptoms, it's time to make some major life changes before it spirals into life-threatening physical and mental health issues. But far too often, burnout victims feel forced to power through for financial survival, or out of a sense of pressure to uphold modern work cultures of frenzied busyness. As a society, we've mythologized and valorized burnout as a cultural virtue. We rationalize it, normalize it, and measure self-worth through its presence. No wonder it's metastasized into a millennial status quo. The reality is we need a generational deprogramming around what constitutes hustle and resilience, because somewhere along the way, we've become disconnected from sustainable, balanced living and replaced it with an unhealthy obsession with frantic overwork. You must be wondering if there's an actual way to beat burnout. You already know all the usual self-care prescriptions. Meditate, exercise, take breaks. But actually doing those things when you're burned out and running on fumes? Yeah, good luck with that. When your tank is truly empty, these solutions can feel like being told to just breathe better when you're drowning. The hard truth is that you need to make some temporarily uncomfortable choices to rip yourself out of the downward spiral. It might mean missing this month's rent to quit that soul-sucking job. It might mean radically downsizing your lifestyle to get off the endless treadmill. Or it might mean finally deactivating that Instagram account and escaping the toxic comparisons that keep you over-sacrificing for a life you can never seem to obtain. Because somewhere along the way, we have convinced ourselves that FOMO is a bigger risk than our own self-destruction. Maybe for you, renewal starts by changing your phone number, severing yourself from all the incessant demands on your time and attention, or by moving in temporarily with family or friends. You know, the people who actually care if you're breathing or not. And the point is, you'll need to get ruthless about hitting the reset button, be radically self-preserving, and say, fuck it, for as long as you need to rediscover your most basic human rhythms. But the first step is deciding that you're simply worth more than the ashes of burnout. Only you can ultimately choose to walk the path of renewal.